Hello friends, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Hi everybody, welcome to another recommendations video, and today I have actually had this request a few times to do my favorite meet cutes or first meeting of characters, and this is really fun. It was cool because while I was looking some of these up, there's something called a meet cute, and there's something also called a meet ugly, which I'd never heard it called that, but the people on this Reddit thread were calling it a meet ugly, like if people meet in a really bad way or they have a bad first impression of each other. And I thought that was cute, but in my opinion, I have them all mixed together because I would still call that scenario a meet cute. It doesn't have to be cute. It's when they first meet and something, let's say, crazy is happening, right? And so I put together a list of 10 books that I think have really cool beginnings to a couple. Maybe they start off with an enemy situation, or maybe they start off already in lust with the person or something like that. So that is going to be what we touch on today. Okay, so the first one I want to share is one I always love to bring up for cute meets at the beginning, and this one is Feathers from the Sky by Jess Wisecup. So this one is actually a vampire and a vampire hunter's daughter, and the story overall involves our vampire Roman ends up actually kidnapping Gwen, our heroine, and she is from a long line of vampire hunters, though she doesn't know that in the beginning of this. And she actually meets Roman at a boudoir photo shoot. So they do like strangers meet and then do sexy pictures together. And I always love sharing this because the time when this book came out, I actually follow a couple of boudoir photographers, and one of them, she does these stranger Sunday shoots where people can fill out a form on her website and she pairs the people together and they meet for the first time at the shoot and they strip down and do this like sexy photo shoot together. And she actually has had quite a few relationships start this way, and one couple that she's actually filmed both their first meeting, their engagement photos, and their like wedding photos, which I just think is so cute. Like, or wait, no, there was one more in there. He actually proposed to her at a photo shoot. Like they were doing like a anniversary photo shoot with her and he proposed to her at that. And then they did engagement photos and stuff. So cute. But anyway, that is how these two meet. And this is obviously a paranormal romance, and there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. And though we may think that one person has the upper hand for a good part of this book, there's actually quite the surprise of how everything works out, shall we say. But I really, really enjoyed this one. And Jess has a novella in the series coming out shortly. It's coming out by the end of the year. And then she will have the second book. This is a duet coming soon. But you should read this one as soon as you can. The audiobook is available. I believe it's on Kindle Unlimited. It's fantastic. Highly recommend. All right, then I wanted to bring back an oldie but a goodie. Okay, I wanted to bring back an oldie but a goodie because this book, it started quite the craze, all right? It's not that anything in this book was completely fresh and new, but it cannot be denied that it spurred quite a few ex-boyfriend's dad romances. So here we have Praise by Sarah Kate. And I will always uphold this one. Before I tell you what the meet cute is, in case you don't know, I had read Sarah Kate before. I'd enjoyed her books before. She wasn't on my top of the list or anything at that time, but this book was put on NetGalley for an arc. And I mean, I saw this cover. Who doesn't love Daddy Emerson? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm into it. And I love BDSM romance, so it's not that anything in here was going to shock me at all. But the meet cute in this one is our heroine, I think Charlie's her name. It's been a long time since I read this one. Yeah, Charlie. She has broken up with Beau, who is Emerson's son. He has a rocky relationship with his son. But Charlie has a she'd been living with Beau, basically. That's what my thing is. And so now they're moving out, and she needs to get her security deposit back. And it was, all of the money was sent to Emerson, I guess, is how it worked out. Because he, I think, had maybe helped them get in, but she needs that money now so that she can go get her own place or whatever. And when she shows up to speak to him, it turns out that he partially owns a sex club, the Salacious Players Club, which is what the series is called. And he is someone who enjoys a submissive there while he's working. Sometimes it's very calming for him to like have his submissive there or whatever. And so when she shows up there, he thinks that she's going to be his like new secretary or whatever, and that one of the guys that he works with like sent her over there. Now, if you are Emerson's secretary, again, you are usually doing some of these sexy things with him. And so when he tells her to kneel for him so he can see if they vibe with each other, she does it without, like, she just kind of slips into this for the very first time. She's never done anything like this. And so literally he asks her to kneel, and she does it before, you know, and then she explains who he is, and he's like, oh my God. But that's their first meeting, is her showing up to get this check from him, and he tells her to kneel, and she does it. And now they're both already so like into each other when he finds out it's his son's ex-girlfriend. So she does end up getting that job as a secretary, and, you know, she asks him to teach her. And how could he possibly say no to that offer? I mean, how could you? Okay, another one. This one has a bit of a, I know it gets some people very feisty about it, but we have Wild Eyes. And I really like the meet cute in this one, even though it almost, see, here's the artwork from the Walmart edition. I love it. It's so pretty. I know that it gets some people fired up. Now that I know how the whole story goes, I actually think the meet cute is kind of funny. Even though, again, for some people, they get mad at it. So we have Skylar Stone, who is a country music singer. She's chart-topping. She's beloved by all. But she's getting burned out in the life, and she doesn't really feel that she's able to be herself or be honest about who she is. And so she's actually received an offer from Ford, who's a hero from the first book, and he's starting Rose Hill Records, which is going to be a small record company that he's beginning. And he asked his daughter's thoughts on some artists that he should collab with, and she wanted Skylar Stone. So this offer's been made to Skylar Stone, and she jumps on it kind of without the go-ahead from her manager or her father. She really doesn't give a shit about their opinion at this point, just because of what she's been through with them. So she goes there. And when she first gets there, she's still a bit in like city girl mode. And so when she sees I believe it's a black bear or a grizzly bear. I'm not even sure which one it is. But Wes, he comes across her trying to get a selfie with this bear, and he has to set her straight that, like, girl, are you crazy? So she at first seems a bit like, well, number one, she is a city girl. You don't try to get a picture with a bear. I'm sorry. No. But also she's very like defensive when he calls her out on it. But in that, like, he's scared for her, and is also like, seriously, you know, there's a lot that goes with it. Like, I understand why he was harsh with her. But as the story goes, not only does she end up being his like kind of tenant while she's there, she's staying in his like guest house because there's no place for her to stay yet. He very much puts her at ease, and he's a single dad. He has 2 kids that live there. His kids love her. He, you know, doesn't hold it against her that she did that. You know, he's not this like asshole of a guy. He's like, you know, just please don't do stupid shit like that. But she definitely takes a little bit to warm up to him because she's, you know, embarrassed and she felt called out. But he very much, I feel like, doesn't hold that against her. And I really love the relationship that they have. I mean, I gave this 6 stars. I love that book so much. Okay, another one for you is The Boyfriend Goal by Lauren Blakely. And In my opinion, this one has more of a like traditional meet cute that isn't as crazy, but it still starts off really fun. And it's why I adored this book, actually. I think this one is so sweet, and it's one of my favorite Lauren Blakely that I've ever read, and it was just great. So it is a hockey romance. It's the start of a new series. And in this one, we have our heroine, who, I'm sorry, I don't have the names in front of me for these ones, so we're just going to say hero and heroine. But she's going to be staying in this new city for a like 3-month period. She has like a grant to help revamp this like public library there, and so she's going to be doing different community projects and things like that. And she's supposed to be like subletting this place or whatever with her friend, and or no, she's going to be subletting a room on her own. But when she first gets there, she's staying with a friend, and she gets locked out of her friend's apartment in like hardly any clothes at all. And so her friend is working a like art exhibit a little ways away, and so in her like pajamas she has to try to get into this art exhibit to see her friend and get the keys for the apartment because she got locked out. And of course the woman at the front door who is running this like very high-end like art thing is not going to let this woman in her pajamas in to talk to somebody. But it just so happens that our hero, who is the hockey player here, his like father is dating the woman who's like running this thing. And so and he doesn't get along with her, let's say. And so when he comes up and sees this girl like trying to get in, he says, well, this is my girlfriend. She's here with me. And so he like pretends to be her boyfriend, which he isn't really thinking too well because it's like his dad is going to hear about this for sure. But he helps her get in and get the key, and they just have this amazing connection. And he's like, well, now you've pretended to be my girlfriend, so you have to stick around for a little bit with me, and then we can leave together. So she's like, absolutely, I will. So they stay for a little bit, and then when they're leaving, he's like, I don't want this to be over. Do you want to like continue this evening? So she stops and get some real clothes on, and they have ice cream. They have this like impromptu date that does end in a one-night stand together. And it was wonderful. Like, it's that kind of one where it just feels like you're like, oh my God, if this was a novella, this whole thing would be right. It's still a good book, but I mean, it's that kind of, you just feel the connection. It isn't just about the sex, even though it's a one-night stand. Like, they genuinely have this beautiful connection. And so she doesn't leave a way to contact him, and he understands, but he also is like, I've never felt this way about a girl. And so he's trying to find a way to contact her. But at the same time, there is a game, and his captain asks everyone like, hey, so my sister doesn't have a place to stay. She was supposed to stay somewhere. She doesn't. I know y'all have big houses. Will one of you let my sister stay in your guest room for 3 months? And who should that girl be except for our heroine, because she's lost the place she's supposed to sublet and she has no place to stay. And so this man she had this wonderful date with, she's now going to be living in his guest room. And now they're going to try to just be friends because this is his captain's sister. So anyway, that was their meet cute, and it is just so sweet. And I loved this couple so much. Like, genuinely, they were so sweet together, and the whole way through this romance I was smiling. So yeah, this one, the audiobook was excellent. It was a duet narration. Lauren Blakely does really great with her audiobooks, so highly recommend. Okay, then let's do In Like Flynn by Lauren Smith. I wanted to put in a couple historicals in here. So quickly, they meet in prison in this one. They meet in jail in here. So our heroine, her name is, this is the one that has the wrong name in the back. So it's funny. So my physical copy of this, the printing mistake, this has the blurb for book 1 on the back of book 2. So I always have to open it. So the heroine, Brianna, in here, she is the daughter of a pirate. And no one knows that this pirate has a daughter, so she'll like dress like a man to be a pirate. But she's gotten caught in the beginning, and the people who are holding her know whose daughter she is. Or, I mean, they think she's the son or whatever, but they know whose kid that she is. And so they recruit our hero, Flynn, to befriend her and find out where this pirate is. And so that's what happens. Like, he gets planted in the cell and they meet each other, and then he like helps her escape, right? Which really, it's in a planned escape. And now he's on her ship and he's supposed to eventually turn her over to them. But I love this. There's some good swashbuckling. This has a really strong female character who, you know, doesn't wear dresses all the time. Of course, it's a historical cover, but yeah, so he's an undercover like Navy man who is trying to catch a pirate and instead falls for the pirate's daughter. And it's great. I love this one, Brianna. She goes by, I think, like Brian or something like that to make it work, but love it. Okay, then I have a monster/alien romance for you. And this one is Jumping the Shark by Ash Raven. I love bringing this one up, okay? I loved this. This is a daddy dom shark, okay? But it's done really soft, okay? He's got 2 dicks. He's an absolute dreamboat, even though he looks like a shark. Like, it's great. And in this world, like, aliens have been using dating apps to find their mates. And so he uses this like disguise to, you know, make himself look human. And he goes on this first date with this woman that he appears to be very compatible with based on their conversations they've had online. And when he meets her, he immediately knows she's his mate. Like, he, you know, literally like fated mate stuff sets in. And so he basically kidnaps her. He kidnaps her, puts her in like a sleep, and brings her to his planet. And when she wakes up, he goes about convincing her that this was actually a great thing and that he's going to take such good care of her and that will she want to be his. Now, she doesn't have any family back on Earth. She's in kind of just a dead-end job. And here's this, you know, sexy shark alien man who wants to make her his queen and just love her and all these things. And plus, he also is interested in some of the same kinks as her, so they give it a go. So this isn't a super long story. It's just kinky enough. It's very hot. There's some good spicy things happening in this story. But I just love sharing this one because, I don't know, it just makes me happy, y'all. This one makes me. Then I will share a mafia one here. This is Darkest Sins by Neva Altaj. And this one has our heroine, Nira. She is working at a veterinary clinic. She wants to become a vet tech. And right now her family is kind of like playing along and letting her do that. And one night she's working late and is the one going to lock up when she sees this man in an alley, literally bleeding to death. And his name is Kai. And Kai has been an assassin for quite a few years. First, he was a secret government like asset, and now he is a paid assassin. And he has the mind of a psychopath in a way, or sociopath, because of what was done to him as a kid. And he's always known that eventually one of these missions, one of these hits he goes on, will hit back. He's under no illusion about that. He doesn't expect to live forever. He doesn't think he will be getting away scot-free. And so when he gets, you know, very badly injured in an op, he's not really surprised, right? He's just kind of like, well, this is my time. I knew it was coming for me, type of thing. But then Nira comes across him and she helps him into the clinic, and it's, you know, he won't let her call an ambulance. And so she actually sews him up. And since this happens, they have this, like, there's just something about her. I think he calls her his little tigress. I think that's what he calls her. Let me see. It's so cute. I don't know. I think he calls her his little or cub. He calls her cub, but like a tigress cub in it. So anyway, it's hot. But after that, he's now obsessed with her. So whenever he's not working an op, he is her silent guardian. He actually saves her from some bad situations a few times, but that is what he does now. He's now her shadow. Whenever he's not working an op, whenever he's not busy somewhere, he's following her and watching her and keeping her safe until finally he can't stay away anymore and she has to be his. And There's going to be some tragedy. There's going to be some people who don't want them to be together. There's going to be some crazy things that happen, but their meet cute is she sews him up, and now he's obsessed with her and can't ever forget her. And I love to see it. Okay, then there is Moonstruck by Onley James, and I totally forgot about this meet cute, but I was trying to pick some that kind of hit like every genre, and there's actually a few that have this type of scenario, but I didn't want to share like Butcher and Blackbird again because I feel like that one gets shared all the time. You've heard it enough. But more so, let's say this. If you liked Butcher and Blackbird and you're looking for some books that give you that same type of vibe, may I put forward Onley James to you just in general. And there's this series where I now can't remember the series title. First, it's gone for a second, but it's a series about serial killers. Okay, these 7 sons who are adopted by this doctor man, and they were in a program that was, you know, kind of tracking children psychopaths, and he's made them all his sons, the Delaney's, that's their last names, I think, right? And they get sent after bad people. So this family of psychopaths hunt psychopaths. That's how it works. So in this one, Moonstruck, we have, I believe it's the oldest, I think it's the oldest son. Can't remember perfectly, but he gets sent to kill someone. And Jericho, this other man, he also gets sent. They get sent to kill the same killer or the same bad guy. And they end up, they actually, I think, have, I can't remember if this is their very, very first meeting now that I'm thinking. I think it is. But yeah, they get sent to the same one. Both of their like handlers, right, send them there. And they end up having this crazy connection with each other. And particularly Jericho is not willing to let it go. So he really keeps pushing and pushing until he gets his way with this guy. And man, I used to love this series so much. I fell off of it because it was really repetitive with things, but for sure the first like 4 books in this series were, man, those were so hot when they were coming out, like literally like hot as in they were sexy, and like they were just hot, like everyone was reading those, so it was great. Okay, and now I have 2 more historicals to end off with as well, because I want you guys to want to read historicals. So we have A Matter of Temptation by Stacey Reed. And this one from her has a really great beginning. So we have Wilhelmina Crawford, and her brother gets in trouble, and he actually needs to like fight a duel. And to stop her brother from making a huge mistake like that, she shows up to duel the hero instead, to duel Simon. And he realizes that this is a woman. And instead of dueling with her, he actually makes her a deal to have her work with him instead. So she becomes a female secretary to the Earl of Creswick. But this has a really great meeting where she shows up dressed for it. She's ready to duel in her brother's place because she knows her brother would die if she did it. But instead, she ends up getting a job with the Earl instead. And so she will, I believe she even comes and like lives with him to do it. So I know that's a bit scandalous because he works all hours of the day and night. And so if she's going to be a secretary, she has to live with him. So yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff in this one. But this was a great one. One of my favorite Stacey Reeds. Really great. Simon and Wilhelmina are just, I love them. They're so cute together. And then another historical to share, and this was another one, I'd forgotten this one until a Reddit page said it, and I was like, oh my god, yes. So we have Brazen and the Beast by Sarah McLean, and the meet cute for this one is wonderful because she gets in a carriage that she's using, and the hero is tied up on the floor in her carriage. She doesn't know who put him there or what the purpose is, but there he is. And what are we going to do with him? But yeah, this is a wonderful one. This has a plus-size heroine. This also has a hero beast who just feels so that he's unlovable and all these things about him. And it's one of my favorite Sarah McLean's. It's such a romantic story between these two. And yes, we do use the rope just a little bit because what a tease it would be if we didn't, right? What a tease. So that is the meet cute for that one. So there you go. There's some meet cutes and a couple of meet uglies for you. Let me know some books with your favorite. I mean, honestly, there's so many that could be put into this, right? I could do it for like every author has written like a good meet cute in one of their stories, because that's how they catch our attention, right? That's why a meet cute is so important, whether it's in a movie or in a book, is because that is the first impression, you know? So whether it's a bad first impression and then we're trying to work away from it, or it's a great first impression and now they can't stop thinking about the person, that's important too. So they're both really great ways to start off a story for sure. So there you go. Let me know some of your favorites. I'll have links to all these books down below if you would like to purchase one of them using one of my Amazon links. It's a great way to help me out. I also have a link to a lot of the supplies that I use for my every day-to-day filming here. I also have my wish list if you'd like to send me a book from there for the holidays, or a book you want me to read. I always have that included. And if you would like to support me through channel memberships or Patreon, I have links to that down below. This is my full-time gig, so any support you send my way, even if it's liking or subscribing to this channel, helps me keep it going. So thanks so much for watching, friends, and we'll see you next time.